It is all around the internet that Raptorium, which is a CPU-mineable cryptocurrency, so it is called Raptorium, have hit about 6 or 7 cents per this virtual coin. And because of that, people are claiming that it is really worth to jump into this and go out and buy a completely new AMD Ryzen system and do this CPU mining. By the way, this is by any means, it's not a financial advice. I'm just trying to look into the numbers, so whatever you do, you do your own thing. I'm just doing here a small financial analysis for myself. Based on the hash rate of my existing rigs, I have currently 4 computers, so one of them is a really old AMD FX8350. I have one new Ryzen 3900X systems, and since I'm an IT guy, I have 2 really old Xeon E5 dual socket server machines as well. So based on my own results, then based on how the hash rate have grown over the couple days, and also based on some of these online calculators, I'm really wondering, I want to run the numbers. Is it worth, at least for myself, again, this is not financial advice, is it worth for myself to buy another Ryzen system and jump into this CPU mining business? Because of the mathematical algorithm behind this crypto coin, the hash rate will jump up and down because there are about 20 different kind of algorithms within the same algorithm, and they change around. So instead of having one stable hash rate, you have more like an average hash rate. Nevertheless, these numbers what you see here, they are really representative of what people tell you online or what you find. Namely, the AMD Ryzen systems, because they have a larger cache, they will do a lot better compared to the older AMD or whatever Intel systems. So to give you an idea, a single socket Ryzen 3900X is having more than twice the hash rate of a dual socket Xeon 2630 system. So this means that a single Ryzen 3900X CPU will be able to mine as many of these crypto coins as 2 dual socket Xeons combined. Furthermore, the newer Intel CPUs, they are also not great. To explain a long story short, you have to be thinking about buying an AMD Ryzen 9 series CPU in order to mine this cryptocurrency in any kind of efficient manner. And actually, as I will show you, even with a Ryzen 9, you will have a really tough time to get any kind of return on your investment. But that's for like 3 to 5 minutes later, I will show you the financial aspect of the whole thing. So nevertheless, when it comes to the Ryzen 9 series, of course, going to very high end like the 5950 or the 3950X and so forth, that is way too expensive and it is not really worth the hash rate which you are gaining. So the 2 most efficient CPUs for a reasonable price, at least what was reasonable price earlier, at least when I got mine, I got a Ryzen 9 3900X for $912, and just while I was doing this video already, in like half an hour, the price of this CPU went up with $20, which is ridiculous. Come on, I mean, this CPU is not worth that much money. Or scalpers on the CPUs already, but anyway, let's get back to our deal. So it means that you will be looking for either an AMD Ryzen 9 3900X or a Ryzen 9 5900X. As you see, the 5900X often comes without a cooler, so you will have to buy extra cooler for the AMD socket 4, which is about, give or take, $60 for a decent cooler with a 12 centimeter fan. So let us assume that you are really lucky and you manage to get a 3900X. So I will remove this one from the list. Okay, so let us assume you got this 3900X And yeah, some of you might be asking, okay, why am I showing to you these prices on Amazon? Well, honestly, the thing is right now, due to the shortages, Amazon is probably the only site where you will get any kind of parts. If you are trying to search around on your local eBay or whatever you have online, you might get lucky. Most of the time, it's not the case. At least personally, I have moved from Europe to Asia. I don't even speak the local language. I cannot even read those characters. So I assume many of the people will be in the similar situation that they just jump on Amazon and they will try to buy some similar configuration. So these are the prices that we will be rolling with. And by the way, these prices are pretty reasonable compared to other retailers, at least what I found online here in Asia. So anyway, you will buy at least a 3900X, well, almost $600 now. Wow, it went up really a lot. Even if you are looking for a really cheapskate memory, and I have to tell you, this memory is not even gonna give you the full performance of this CPU when it comes to the hash rate, because it is clock latency 16 instead of clock latency 14. And also the frequency is lower than 3200. But anyway, let us roll with these really cheapskate memory sticks. And in order to have a motherboard which can provide enough power for 3900X without throttling down the processor, you will mostly buy something similar to this price range, give or take about $100. Okay, so as you see, we are already at $750, not including shipping. I have to point out that I'm not even including a power supply, a case, and so forth, because I assume that you already have those components laying around, because those would add extra to the price. It would be even worse. So anyway, as you see, we are at least $750 out of the box we have to spend for a minimal system. Plus, of course, it will be give or take about $50 shipping. Plus, depending on where you are located, you will be also have to be paying taxes. At the end of the day, we are looking for give or take at a $900 range, including taxes and shipping. Let us have a look now what kind of profits you might expect based on online calculators like this one here. By the way, I'm not attacking the given person who made this calculator, don't misunderstand me. I mean, it's a really nice website and so forth and so forth. It provides very useful information. However, at least personally, for whatever reasons, I just cannot hit these profitability numbers. So yeah, you should really treat these numbers with a grain of salt. So as you see, if you put in a Ryzen 9 3900X, and it tells you that you are supposed to get 52 Raptoriums per day, I can tell you that my whole 4 systems, when they are running at the same time, right now I'm producing about 48 to 46 Raptoriums per day running on 4 systems, so not on single one. And again, I'm not blaming the person who made this website because he did a good job. The issue is that the hash rate when it comes to Raptorium, it changes so rapidly that it is simply impossible to track. As you see, this is the global hash rate, and it is just radically changing because the given kind of algorithm changes all the time. So to give you an idea, when I started, the global hash rate was slightly below 30 megahash per second. And when I was thinking about buying more of these Ryzen systems, it was already rising up. It was about give or take 50 to 60 megahash per second. It just went crazy. As you see, it's easily 250 to 270 megahash per second right now. And this is why these kind of online calculators, they just give you a snapshot in the given time when the calculator was looking at the potential profitability. If you will check it the next day, it would give you a more accurate number for that given day. So anyway, I don't want to talk you out of mining Raptorium. Don't misunderstand me. I mean, it's your money. You do with it whatever you want. All I can tell you is that I'm not even coming close to hitting these Raptorium numbers. I wish I would, but that's sadly not the case. But you know what? Let us be generous and let us assume that the issue is on my side. I haven't tuned the systems as I was supposed to, and yeah, it's my fault that I'm not hitting these numbers. Okay, good. Instead of relying on such online calculators, of course, the best is to look at a pool, and especially if you have hardware, you can just throw the current existing hardware on it, and this is what I got. So my hash rate is fluctuating a lot, of course, because the algorithm is changing, but the four systems are producing give or take about 7 to 8 kilohashes per second. And most of it is coming from the Ryzen system, of course. As I explained, that's really the case. Although I had these four systems running at the same time, I could still not come very close to this estimate which was provided by this calculator here. So the four system is producing about 40 Raptoriums per day nowadays. So in the last 24 hours. Okay, you might be saying, oh, why would I give out like $950? Why would I shell out that money for a new Ryzen system? Hey, I can just buy some old school Xeon systems and it's gonna be fine. Well, let me show you how bad that Xeon system is compared to the Ryzen one when it comes to Raptorium mining. To put it in perspective how inefficient would be to mine Raptorium on this old school Xeon E5 series motherboards and CPUs, well, you know what? You could just take your toaster, just turn it on, leave it on for a day. Don't do it, you will burn down the house. But anyway, so you could just turn on the toaster. You could also just take a blender, just turn it on. The resulting setup that you get this way will generate less heat, less noise. Also, once the toaster is done, well, you know, we only used about 30 Raptoriums worth of electricity on it. I don't know whether Raptorium is short written RTM or RTFM, one of the two. Anyway, also, as you see, the blender at least made me a milkshake, and yes, my milkshake is better than yours. By the way, that's a WAP music reference from about the late 2000s. Now, in contrast to this efficient setup of a toaster and a blender, if we would have used the dual socket Xeon E5s, you know, two systems would have eaten about 50 Raptoriums worth of power. It would have been noisier. Since this thing, you know, only used about 30 Raptorium and it made me a good chocolate milkshake, I would say this setup is better, so winning, duh. What I try to convey to you through this comedy sketch is that buying this old, whether it's V0, V1, V2 or V3 E5 series Xeon CPUs is really not the way to go. They are producing so little Raptorium that they are not even able to break even when it comes to the power consumption. So I'm actually turning these systems off when it comes to Raptorium mining. It's the same, by the way, for this old AMD FX8350 series CPU. Now listen, I like big bucks and I cannot lie. By the way, that's also a reference from a really fabulous 90s rap video. There is a difference between web and rap, just for those who don't know. If you are like me, you know, you are a middle-aged, somewhat old-school IT guy, when you hear web at the first time, you might think it's about wireless access points. Oh boy, when I found out what it actually is, well, let me tell you, I was surprised. Anyway, let us talk about money and ROI. Okay, so let us assume that you got your Ryzen 9 system coming in, whether you ordered it from eBay, Amazon, whatnot, whatever, it doesn't matter. You paid about $900, $950 for it, you put it together, you press the power button, it boots up and everything is just great. And the gravy train is just rolling in, and as you see, you are producing, give or take, about $2.90. Let us assume that you get close to this number, which again, I have to tell you, I'm not getting close to this kind of Raptorium numbers what the online calculator is giving. But anyway, let us roll with these numbers. So let us assume you are really making $2.90 every day as a kind of profit. What does that actually mean when it comes to ROI or return on investment? So in practice, it means that we take this $9.50 we paid for this system. You're not gonna get a system for $3.50 even in South Park. You're not gonna get a Ryzen 9 system. So anyway, we take this 950. We're gonna divide it with this $2.93. Okay, and we're gonna end up with an ROI of 324 days. This is assuming, first of all, that you hit those numbers, what the calculator give you, and also it is hoping that this hash rate doesn't increase even further, which, by the way, it will. Again, this is not a financial advice video, but for me, an ROI of 320 days or give or take a year is just too long. So personally, I rather take that money, and if you really want to mine so bad, it is probably better to take that $950 and just buy for it like an RTX 3060 Ti or an RTX 3070 and just mine Ethereum or something like that, and you probably end up with a shorter ROI, first of all. Second thing is, and this is what I really, I was afraid when it comes to CPU mining, is that there are very few coins which are CPU mineable or which are worth mining on a CPU. So you might say, okay, you know what, if Raptorium turns out not to be profitable, then I'm just gonna mine some other coin on it. And I can tell you, the other coins which are CPU mineable, they will produce less than $0.3 of profit a day, which means that you will, even in 1,000 days or in 3 years, you will not gonna make your money back. I'm very happy that I was not purchasing this second and third system when the hash rate was still very low. So what are my personal conclusions regarding Raptorium as a cryptocurrency and whether it is worth to buy new AMD Ryzen 9 systems just to mine this new cryptocurrency? My opinion is that those who got into this crypto coin like 3 months ago or 4 months ago, there are lots of YouTubers who were lucky enough to mine this coin. Now they have a nice bag of it, and hopefully they will make also a good profit. In my view, however, the project is way too new. What I mean about it is that it is only mineable, the coin itself, about 8 or 9 months ago, which is a very short time when it comes to a cryptocurrency. And because of that, the coin itself is not even listed in any of the major exchanges. So even those people who got into this coin very early, in practice, they were never able to get their money worth when it comes to hardware, because you could just simply not exchange your coins into some other coins or fiat currency and so forth. In my view, it got too famous way too fast. It should have taken a bit more until, the hash rate goes up crazy, and also until the price goes up crazy. It just went too fast. It is just too FOMO. It kind of reminds me of Shiba Inu and Dogecoin and so forth and so forth. Another conclusion for those who are looking into eventually buying hardware just to mine this cryptocurrency is that it is only worth to mine it on new AMD Ryzen 9 CPUs. Putting your money into old Xeons or old Intel i5, i9, i7, it's simply not worth it. And even the new Intel i9 version is not really efficient when it comes to Raptorium mining. The issue is that this kind of hardware, for me at least, is too expensive, is too risky. The return on investment time is over 300 days, which is way too long. It is almost a year, so practically you are more safe in the current environment to rather put your money into a GPU. I might be completely wrong and Raptorium just explodes and it will be $1 in a half a month. Who knows? I mean, no one can predict this. I wish I would know the future. Because of this, it means also that the long-term profitability is unclear. The coin might go up crazy. It might completely crash down to zero. Who knows? Nobody knows. So only mine this Raptorium cryptocurrency if you already have a Ryzen 9 system available and you just mine it when you are not gaming on your system or something like that. Or eventually if you can buy a Ryzen 9 system very cheap, like you have access to used parts for cheap and so forth. But otherwise, I'm really not sure whether right now it's the right way or the right time to jump into buying several AMD Ryzen 9 systems just to mine Raptorium. Please put your comments below and let me know what you think about it.